Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is April the 7th of 2020. It is now 10 a.m. or 10:01 a.m. And we are live. Thank you for telling me that this morning, Katie. And we are here this morning, and I now call this meeting to order. And the first thing that we're going to do is to approve the certificate of appointment for a health authority, that there was a clerical error made in it when the appointment for Dr. David Blocker was made by the previous court as far as the date the office ends, and it should have been ending on October the 23rd of 2021, and instead it ended on October the 23rd of 2019, clearly just a clerical error. So if I could have a motion to allow me just to cross through the end date and put then 2020.
2020.
Yes.
October 23rd, 2020.
Yes, for the two-year term. Do I hear a motion in that regard?
So move. It's 2021 though, Judge, isn't it?
Well, it's for only two-year term.
Okay,
18 to 20.
It'd be
okay.
October 33rd of
2020.
2020.
Okay.
We'll take it up before then again.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
Judge.
it.
Okay, motion is made by Commissioner Deaver to allow the present county judge to interlineate and put the correct date of 2020 in the date that the term of office ends. It was seconded by Commissioner Cotton. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. The correction will be made. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is something that I am very happy to say in this period of tragic news, is that our community partner from Luminant, we have three wonderful dignitaries here this morning, all three of them here. Tom, Patrick, Ken, y'all are such wonderful partners with us, and they've got a little gift here for Hood County. So if the three of you would please come down here, and please notice, ladies and gentlemen, that they have on gloves, they have on masks, and
Some of them do.
okay.
I just left the power plant a little while ago, so.
Okay.
You've been nuked.
Okay. If you will stand kind of right here in front of the monitors.
So we're going to just put kind of where the monitors are, that'll split the.
Patrick, you get there, and
So let you go down.
Ken, you're going to get there and everything? All right? So
You kind of hang right.
I think the video camera is live right there, so it's going to get,
Maintaining our 6 feet.
all right, yes, maintain your 6 feet. So I said that, so I think you have something for us. Do you?
We do.
Do you not?
We do. So Judge Massengill, Commissioners, appreciate the opportunity to be here. You know, at Comanche Peak, safety is our top priority. That includes both the plant and its people and our communities. We're really appreciative of the partnership we've had with all our local communities, including Hood County over the years, to demonstrate year-over-year strong emergency response. As a concrete show of that appreciation, gives me great pleasure, especially in these challenging times, to present you a check for $50,000 to continue the great work in Hood County. Thank you.
Thank you. Whoa.
Elbow handshake.
Elbow. Hey,
That's it.
boy.
Melissa, can you get us all in this
Yeah.
live
Let's get a
Zoom?
picture. Let Melissa get
picture.
a shot of.
Can we stand up?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Melissa.
I tell you, these guys do a marvelous job at the plant. It's always a pleasure to go down there. And like I said, after the first time when they did a practice run, they asked me, what would I do if I got a call from the nuclear plant? I said I would follow their instructions to the T without hesitation. Not going to try to second guess these guys. They're very professional. They're very good. And we're just so glad they're running the nuclear plant. That's all I can say. Thank you very much. Y'all are the best. Thank you. See y'all again. Okay, bye-bye. I guess our treasurer wants the check. I thought that I would take it.
Is there any specifics for the donation, or is it just
It goes into the FEMA.
It always goes into the Office of Emergency Management for FEMA deal. That's what I have understood, and couldn't have come at a better time. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. Thank you.
Do we need a motion to accept, do you think, or just take it?
You know what? That's right. Let's go ahead and do it the right way. I dare anybody to vote against this motion. I move that Hood County accepts a check for $50,000 from Luminant as a donation to Hood County. Do I hear a second? Second by Commissioner Deaver. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Nay. Okay, the Commissioners Court voted to accept $50,000. You sure you
I didn't
want?
mean it.
I'm glad it's out of your hands now?
Right.
My mind was somewhere else.
Okay, he had to leave. Okay, good. I'm glad he did that then. Oh, huh? How many? 1, 2, 3. Okay. 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 Let me tell you what, I'd like to, go ahead and let the four of us come up here, and they don't have to be here all at the same time. We'll let them in one at a time.
Melissa's leaving, but she doesn't have any business, so she's gonna leave, go back.
Okay, so bring in one more for Mr. Abear's group to take their place. This is Abear, the guy that wants to talk about the lifting the bar on the gyms and stuff. Jay, before we hear from the public, this whole special meeting was to discuss the COVID-19. So I have some bad news for everybody, is that Dr. David Blocker's mother passed away last night, not related to COVID-19 at all. She has been terminally ill for a good while in hospice, and she passed away. So all our prayers and thoughts go out to Dr. David Blocker and his family for the loss of his mother and grandmother, and for his family. So he's taken a day off, as you can imagine, and Jay Webster told him to not worry about anything today, at least. So he's taking care of his family matters then. So I want to ask Jay Webster, our emergency manager coordinator, to bring us kind of up to date on the COVID-19.
So yesterday, we put out a late press release. There was kind of some confusion did we have 11 or did we have 12? And the confusion was caused by the fact that one of the addresses was actually in Parker County. So once we got that figured out, that came off of our count, went to Parker County's count. So as of last night when we put out the press release, a little after 5, I think is when it went out, we have 182 total COVID-19 tests that have been reported for Hood County residents with 11 positive cases. There's 120 negative, 51 pending laboratory confirmations. One of our COVID patients has fully recovered and is off of our watch list, and his address has been removed from the COVID, from the CAD system. And then, of course, as we all know, we had the one that passed away on April the 2nd, 2020. I did get confirmation yesterday that one of our other COVID patients that we were afraid we were going to lose actually came off of their respirator or ventilator and is showing great recovery, and it's given the hospital a lot of hope. And so it's looking really well. See, 4 people are believed to have contracted a highly contagious virus from travel, 3 were from work contacts in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and 2 others contracted the illness from an infected family member. 2 do not yet have an identified source, and we're still working on that to figure out how they got it or where it came from. Everybody else that we are aware of, making sure that we're following the COVID-19 guidelines, with any possible COVID positives, in their contacts or everything else, and making sure that those people are being monitored and doing what we're supposed to be doing. I'm not sure what else you would like me to cover. So,
Well, I would like for you to just state to the Commissioners Court what you have found out about what Kroger and Lowe's and Walmart are doing to implement further measures to keep everybody safe.
So I'll talk a little bit quickly about the updated CDC guidelines for management of community spread. And as y'all saw, what we put out from me and Dr. Blocker was, if you look around the state of Texas, based on what the governor and the president have asked us to do, including our churches, we are monitoring and utilizing guidelines that are the moderate to, we're in the moderate category, but we're using the higher category in order to help slow the spread down, which is the substantial spread. So we're using the guidelines under the substantial spread in order to help us keep it in the moderate area, which is semi-working. And in order to do that, after the last governor's order to define what essential businesses were based on the Homeland Security guidelines and the state of Texas guidelines, our local partners such as Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, and all those from their corporate offices have implemented their own guidelines. Example is our local Home Depot can handle 1,500 customers at a time, but they have cut that down to 10% for 150 employees at a time. They use the middle entrance only as an inbound, and then they exit the other end. And as one or two leave, they have a really systematic phone system that one lady can text another one and tell her let three have left, and it automatically tells her to let three in. If somebody just wants to come in and buy mulch or a flower, they actually have a checkout stand outside to allow that person to take care of that outside and never have to enter their store. Walmart cut theirs down to so many square feet per customer, and so I'm not sure what that is, and Lowe's has their own, and I don't have that memorized as well. The orders that were put in for the essential businesses left a lot of our stuff in place that we were already doing until April the 27th. That's when the governor's order and the president's order expires, pending any extensions of that. And so that was the guidance that was given to the Commissioner's Court and the judge on the order that y'all are fixing to do, is to follow those guidelines that were recommended, or basically told that this is what you will do based on those definitions, and refer back to those links as to what is defined as essential based on those two entities.
I know that we got Mr. Aver here again that's going to talk about, I'm sure, wanting to lift the restrictions on all gyms in the state. I want you to tell us right now, before any of us discuss it, what is the status regarding the Governor Abbott's orders regarding gyms?
So that was one of the things that he did specifically identify in his new declaration that he did sign outside of the link that was essential. Was he specifically addressed salons, barbershops, nail salons, tanning salons, gyms, and et cetera, that they were not considered essential and that they were to be closed per his order. So it wouldn't matter what the court wanted to do. The governor's order supersedes that anyway, so you can't relax your orders to allow somebody else to open it wants to, because it's a violation of the governor's order. It supersedes yours anyway, which is what happened, and the reason we have Governor Abbott's number 14 order in the first place was because across the state of Texas, and county judges and mayors could not get their orders the way they should have. One was less restrictive versus the other one, and so the governor said he would take care of that and make everybody have the same guidelines and guidance. Hence why I came along with the definition of what is essential and not essential.
Okay.
Judge, would it be necessary, I could read word for word exactly what the governor says in his GA 14 regarding that.
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
That paragraph in the GA 14 order on page 3 reads as such: in accordance with the guidelines from the President and the CDC, people shall avoid eating or drinking at bars, restaurants, and food courts, or visiting gyms, massage establishments, tattoo studios, piercing studios, or cosmetology salons, provided, however, that the use of a drive-through pickup or delivery options for food and drink is allowed and highly recommended throughout the limited duration of this executive order.
Okay. And I know the last time up here, Mr. Abear was saying up here, it didn't prohibit, it didn't say close the doors, it said they couldn't visit. And your opinion as being only, Jay, in your opinion of being only having 32 years of emergency management, 30 years with the Department of Public Safety as a captain on here, is there any way at all that we as a commissioner's court can do anything to allow Mr. Abear to open his gym and allow his clients or customers to come into that gym?
Not without violating the President of the United States and the Governor of Texas's orders that specifically told us what to do per the CDC order under a pandemic.
Okay. Is there any of the commissioners that would like to ask anything to Mr. Webster here in point of clarification or for further identification before we go ahead and let public participation come up and take the mic?
I'd just like to say, Jay, appreciate all you're doing for us. I know you're knee-deep in alligators, doing a great job. We appreciate you very much that you're here in Hood County.
I second that motion. Doing a great job, Jay.
Appreciate it. Let me finish up with two things, and then I'll get out of the way. As we continue to walk through the COVID, just want to let everybody know, as we continue to walk through this COVID-19 emergency, officially, we continue to recommend that we continue to follow the substantial spread guidelines that were implemented here in Hood County. We continue to follow those guidelines until we're given other guidance from the CDC. And this, again, is something that's being done statewide and has been asked to do statewide and across the United States. And I'm speaking on behalf of Doc Blocker since he's not here. As the Hood County Health Authority, he's going to continue to coordinate with our local DSHS officials, county, and all of y'all in their cities. But at this time, he still recommends, based on what we've been discussing and everything that we're seeing, to continue to keep in place the substantial spread and follow the orders and directions of the President of the United States and the Governor. And I'll come back up at the end and brief y'all on everything that's kind of going on in the county since I got all of you. I'll let somebody else have it first.
I got a question,
Yes, sir.
sir. And I just want to make sure I understand. Before you rendered this legal opinion, have you consulted with our county attorney on that particular, what you just testified to? Did you consult with our county attorney?
I talked to my immediate supervisor, which is the county judge, and then I'm assuming he had conversation with the county attorney.
But you didn't?
I did not personally have that, no, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Webster. Okay, Mr. Mills, did you disagree with anything, not personally, I'm not asking for your personal beliefs, I'm asking for your legal advice as the county attorney for Hood County. Did you disagree with what Jay Webster, our emergency management coordinator, said about following the governor's orders and the president's order?
No, I didn't see anything. I mean, the governor did, okay, sorry. Sorry about that. The governor did ban those things that Mr. Cotton just read, so I would agree that even if we wanted to let him open his gym back up, for right now, we're not allowed to do that under the governor's order. Are there any other questions on that?
I don't think so. That's just what I wanted clarification, and I'm glad that Mr. Adair was back here again so that he could hear the further clarification of what the position is right now.
Well, I think also the judge was asking, did you hear anything from Mr. Webster that you didn't agree with?
Not on that clarification question.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, if nobody else has anything, Mr. Abear, would you like to come up and address the Commissioners Court?
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I always like being looked at as the dumbest man in the room. Gives me an advantage, because that's not what I'm going to be talking about today.
Okay.
I'm back, and I will continue to come back until my rights as Americans are restored. I would like to start off this morning asking you a rhetorical question. Did all of you take the official oath of office, where it states, I quote, I, your name, do solemnly swear to affirm or attest that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of County Judge or Commissioner in the state of Texas and will do my best to my ability to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God. I'm sure you all did. So I ask you, how exactly did you defend mine and everyone else's First Amendment right to peaceably assemble? Or my 14th Amendment, more importantly, no state shall make or enforce any laws which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within this jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Now, I'm no attorney, but I would say by you closing businesses and firing people, you deprive them of property, that being their income. Or let's look at my favorite amendment, the 9th one. Not well known, but very important. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people, which basically means that we, the people, have many rights that are not placed in the Constitution. You know, like getting a haircut, staying in shape, eating what we want, going where we want, doing what we want. Gentlemen, this is not about a pandemic virus. This is a test of Americans and the Constitution of the United States of America. And local and state governments are failing miserably. Benjamin Franklin stated, any society that will give up a little liberty to gain a little security will deserve neither and lose both. That is where we are today. I would like to shed some insight on something I observed 2 days ago. President Trump, when asked by a reporter why he hasn't issued a nationwide stay-at-home order, his response, and I quote, we have this little thing called a Constitution. Do you really think this man, who is not an attorney, came up with this on his own? You can bet his advisor spoke with the Supreme Court justices and got their opinions. He would be violating every American citizen's rights, just like you have done. He has also realized that his opponents, while begging him to do it, would turn on him and accuse him of violating their rights. No different than if you violated the Second Amendment rights to bear arms. One right is not more important than any others in the Constitution. They all weigh the same. You were elected by the people to defend our rights, and I would like to commend County Attorney Matt Mills for doing exactly what he was elected to do. Question the authority when it goes in contrast with the constitutional rights of Americans. That is his job, to stand up and take on the fight. And for that, I thank him, and I'm proud that he is my county attorney. He has taken a lot of flack for his stance because of a reporter who is certainly a liberal that wrote an unfair article on Mr. Mills and his questioning the authority. Note, this reporter was on the news last night standing up for Judge Clay Jenkins against Governor Abbott. And I quote him saying, Judge Jenkins is like the governor of North Texas. Wow. Really? And sadly, Hood County leadership followed in the lead of Jenkins. This court should be supporting County Attorney Mills and his actions to question the tyrannical authority to strip us of our rights, not siding with anyone who believes it's okay just for now till this is all over. No, it's not and never will be okay. That's why the Constitution was written, to eliminate dictatorships. And the Second Amendment was put in there to make sure that Americans could fight a dictatorship. You gentlemen are about to see in the coming weeks a turning of the tide, where people will figure out what many of us have already. This is leadership through fear, and once the fear wears off and people can't pay their bills, put food on their tables, this court will be full of people wanting their rights back. Not just here, but all around the country. If I were you, I would be in front of that wave and not in the aftermath. An 84-year-old woman posted the other day that she and her husband were indeed in the vulnerable population for the virus, but she and her husband would rather die by this virus for her grandchildren and great-grandchildren to live in the same America she grew up loving than to have their rights infringed on. And that, sirs, is a true American patriot. Can you say the same? I can, or else I wouldn't be up here. As you see, there are many people here, many more people here than last week, and I didn't have a lot of time to rally the troops. Most business owners have to see their faces when the faces of the people that they fire. You have, however, fired thousands of people and never saw a face. So I figured I'd get some of them down here so you can see them, hear them, feel their concerns and anguish made by your decisions. And yes, I know the governor's orders are in place.
Judge, I think he's close to his 5 minutes, just so you know. Sorry.
So I'm done.
Well, you're awful close.
You kept time.
I'm almost finished.
You know,
And yes, I know the governor's orders are in place, and you can't supersede them, but your orders are to close business across Hood County prior to that on a knee-jerk reaction built on fear. We don't need fearful leaders, we need strong leaders, willing to fight for their citizens and put them in office. And we have to start somewhere. So local leadership is where we're starting. Can you see now why the First Amendment is so important for peaceful assembly? The stay-at-home mandate stops people from getting together to petition the removal of an elected official or demonstrate against elected officials and their orders. Exactly why the Constitution was written, and the First Amendment is the First Amendment. That's all I got.
let me ask you this. The last time that you were up here, you said that you have other income that you do. You're employed and have another job. What is the other job that you have?
I run an environmental remediation division,
For whom?
CCI.
What, is that a private company?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that exempt under the governor's order?
It's an energy services company. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so if it wasn't exempt and it wasn't essential services asked to shut down, would your company violate the governor's order?
Say again? Would my,
If your company
Okay.
was not an essential business
right?
and was non-essential, I'm just giving you the hypothetical.
Okay.
Do you think that your owners of your company would violate the governor's orders?
I have no idea. I'm not their owners.
Do you think you would if you were working for the company?
Well, I'm
Do
trying
you
here.
have to answer to your superiors and the owners of your company, Mr. Hebert?
And you too. You have to answer
I
to
didn't
the,
ask
to
you
the
that,
citizens.
sir. I asked you, would you sitting up here preaching to us, you stated that you are not an attorney. And every man up here is a conservative. Every man up here believes in all of our rights. And these men up here agonized over what we should do. If you think that we just willy-nilly, just up there wanted to close businesses who are owned by our friends, people that we associate with, people that we see. But then, as some people have told us, we had a choice right then. We could either let the businesses live, and perhaps that all medical advice at that time, and I've tried to tell you the last time you were here, our decision was not based upon your interpretation of what the Constitution has said and has been written on in volumes and volumes and volumes, and most of us up here, Mr. Eagle and myself, are attorneys as well, practiced that and read that in constitutional law. And I'm a firm believer. I'm just as conservative as you are. And when the public health and safety are at issue, the biggest responsibility of government is to protect the life and safety of the citizens, period. We're in an emergency situation. In the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln, our most revered president, violated citizens' rights because of the emergency situation that we were in. But if you think for 1 second that any man up here, any commissioner or myself, likes the fact that we had to close businesses of our friends, our voters, our constituents here, you are very, very sadly mistaken. We agonized over the decision and finally had to say that we were going to follow the advice of Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, the CDC, all the information that was available. And then the president issued orders. And then our governor came up and said that these businesses will be closed. That's why they are closed. Hood County is not going to violate any government's orders. They're just not. Not as long as I think this commissioner's court is in session and I'm county judge. That's not going to happen. We're doing the very best that we possibly can to protect the lives of our citizens. And It may be difficult to come back from very bad economic times, but I choose life, sir, over austere financial losses. Thank you for your opinion. It's duly noted. We have a lot of other citizens that feel the same way you do, and there's a lot of us that feel the same way that you do. But our job up here, our primary job is protect the lives and safety of our Hood County residents, and that's what we will do. Thank you, sir. What is the next participation? Who wants to speak next? I only have that form. Sheriff, do you have any other forms?
That was the only one.
Okay. Does anybody else wish to take a stand and wish to say something about? Yes, ma'am.
On the list, but I would love to say something.
Please come up, state your name and what you want to.
My name's Mary Dix. I think one of the biggest points that we might be missing, put everything aside, no matter how y'all feel about needing to close things, whether, we feel like we need to open things, that's beside the point. The point is you could be stirring up a sleeping giant. And that's what Todd is trying to convey here. There are citizens that do have certain rights. They are going to get scared. They're going to get worried. They're going to wonder where their income is going to come from. That is something that he is trying to let you know that this is a possibility. This is something. My husband lost his job beginning of January. And I have been the sole provider for our family. I do not make enough money to provide for our family of 4. And I can no longer do my job because the gym is closed. I am trying to find every way that I can, FaceTime with clients, whatever, but most of them don't have equipment. They don't have the understanding and knowledge of what it means to actually exercise. So now we are down to 0 income in our house, and we're just kind of praying that God, he will always provide. But at this point, it is a little nerve-wracking. It is like, what do we do next? What is the opportunity that we have available to us other than just a stimulus check? I don't want to be a stimulus check recipient. That's not the type of person I am. I want to provide for myself until my husband figures out his game plan. Fortunately, he has opted to get into real estate, which is still considered essential business. But at this time, it takes a moment to get that ball rolling. So until further notice, we have no income. And that looks like, not being able to pay our grocery bill, not being able to keep our electricity on, and potentially losing our house. So while y'all are still getting paid, and you can sit up here and make these decisions, it's people like me who are really suffering day in and day out. You might be agonizing over these decisions, but Lord, trust me, I am agonizing over my decisions and the fact that you have decided that I can no longer create an income for my family. And that's all I'd like to say, so thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
What's your name? Oh, I'm sorry.
My name's Mary Dix.
It's what?
Mary Dix, last name D-I-X.
I'd like to say something. You talk about people not having income. I have quite a few members in my family that don't have income either.
It's definitely a hard topic.
I get it, but I also get life.
Yeah. But what is life if I can't provide a home for my family? If I don't have food to feed my family? What kind of life is that? Is that fair to us?
I've been in business with my family for many years. I understand to look at an employee's face. I see the fear in them. I hear it in your voice. But I will tell you this court does care.
I understand. I believe you do.
I don't, a governor and a president is telling us what we need to do right now.
Right. I understand.
But I get being in gyms. I've worked out in gyms most of my life. I know the mindset of people that want to work out, the men and the women, they live for that moment. I get it. But we're trying to protect people's lives here. So when, it's just a very difficult situation that this court is having to go through. We weren't prepared, nobody was prepared for this.
Right.
And, you know, I get it about rights, I really do. Like the judge says, everybody up on this court is conservatives, in my opinion. And we care about your family, I care about his business, I care about everybody in this county. You know, I've lived here since 1971. There's a lot of businesses and a lot of friends that I have here that are suffering. I see it. I talk to them. I go through the drive-throughs. I stop when there's time, and I spend time with them, ask them how they're doing, you know, trying to reassure. You know, and I'll tell you this, you know, financially, we may take some hits, but if everybody will stick together and don't turn against each other, we'll get through this.
So if I lose my house, who's going to come help me get it back? Anybody? If somebody gets COVID-19, they're going to have help. They're going to have a hospital to go to. If the bank comes for my house, who's going to be there for me?
They can't foreclose on your house right now. That's another one of the governor's orders. Wait a minute, let me get this so that you can understand this. This will give you some solace at least. Nobody can foreclose on any property right now. All foreclosures are stopped, okay?
And how long is that for?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Hopefully, we don't know how long this is going to last. You've heard the news people. If you watch the TV, they're saying that the next 2 weeks are the critical times, and that hopefully if we can get through the next 2 weeks crunch times, that the curve is going to level off. When you said and made the statement just previously that if anybody gets COVID-19, they're going to have a hospital bed that they're going to get to go through. Maybe not. If we hadn't put, or if the president and the governor hadn't put in effect these measures, that's what they were trying to do, is to keep the curve from exploding. Because if everybody got ill at the same time, there would not be enough beds for everybody. That's the critical point.
Yes,
that's
I understand
the critical point.
I understand that.
Okay. Well, we want to be able to take care of everybody, not just the old people, not middle-aged people, not just mothers, but fathers and children and anybody that's got sick. Those were all the factors that we had to factor in based upon what the CEOs of hospitals were telling us. Look, we only have these many beds.
Can I interrupt you? From the last meeting, I watched the last meeting. One thing that I gathered from you is you do a lot more talking than listening. You do a lot more talking than listening. And I'm saying these things not to get a response. I understand all the facts.
Your time is up.
Read.
Your time is up. Thank you very much for
I figured it would be once I said that.
No, you get 5 minutes.
Okay.
You get 5 minutes just like everybody else that gets 5 minutes.
Only
and you
5
used
minutes.
up-
We gave you.
But I also listened for 5 minutes, so thank you.
Judge, I'd like to say something here. I mean, everybody on this court's got some family member this is affected. I'm like Bruce. I've lived here all my life. I've never lived out of Hood County. I got a lot of kinfolk, a lot of people I know here, all old timers. We do care. And like, I'll echo what the judge says. We all care about our people. My middle son has lost his job. He's without a job. It's affected all of us. It's not just affecting you. It's affected all of us, our family members, and we do care. And I'll end with this. I am sorry this has happened, but we got orders from up above to obey. It's like the sheriff. We have to obey his laws. We have to obey the governor's laws. And I do. I feel, ma'am, I am so sorry for your loss and for y'all's hardship. But Jay has something to add, Judge, if you allow him to speak.
So I was asking the county attorney, and then I asked Commissioner Deaver about what he thought. And this is based on what I've seen going on in other cities. So what's coming out of my brain is something that's been happening. So if we all look at the order, what does the order say about exercising? He's allowing what activities to take place outside?
Walking, hiking.
And the one that we all like to fight about or argue about or have constant conversation about is what? Golf. Okay, they can play golf, correct? And they can play golf as long as they do the social distancing. All right, some of the things I've seen, it's kind of a compromise, I'm trying to help you, is there's a lot of CrossFit going on outside in a lot of the church parking lots. They're bringing the weights, they're setting up outside in their parking lots outside the gyms, but they are maintaining social distancing for each member. So when I look at the parking lot, what do I see? There's an X for everybody to stand on, and they have their weights or they have whatever that would allow you to continue to teach and do your stuff. That would continue to allow you to do some working out, but it's got to be outside. I can't let you do it in the gym, but if you follow the orders the way the governor's written them, we can authorize these people to do exercising. They just have to be outside because that's what we're trying to do, is keep that close quarters, the sweating on stuff, and then somebody else coming and sitting on that and getting that versus somebody forgetting to wipe it off. If it's their own little 6 feet of area, then when they get done, their responsibility is to clean it all up. Then you clean it all up before you give it back to them the next time. So I'd like to offer up to the court that compromise that he can do his gym out in the parking lot as long as he's maintained social distancing, and that's any gym. If they want to do it outside, they want to rent the parking lot from the church that's big enough to do that. Everybody else is doing it. So let's allow the people to exercise, and let's just kind of compromise and say the gym's not inside, the gym's just outside. So would that benefit you and help you in a way with your business to allow you at least to compromise under the orders that we're allowed to do?
I don't see why it wouldn't.
Jay come to me, and, you know, 'cause he couldn't talk the whole court. I said, man, as long as they do their social distance, do their cleanups, do that. I myself, I'm one of 5, famous words of Steve Barrett. I have no problem with that.
Well, in addition to that, that does not conflict with the order about gymnasiums. It doesn't conflict it if you do it outside,
Well, and I asked,
because that's gyms.
I asked the county attorney before I come up here, based on what I just explained, if he had an issue with that, if I was making a suggestion outside of what was written. And his answer was no, he felt like that we would be still in compliance with the governor's order as long as, if we did it that way.
Outside, not inside.
Yes, sir.
I think we'd take the opinion of our emergency management coordinator, Jay Riley. If he says that's okay, I don't think we need a motion. They wouldn't be violating the governor's order if they were doing just what you said.
Excuse me. And this is with all due respect to everybody sitting in this room. I can't believe I'm listening to this. We're talking about modifying an order right here.
No, I'm saying not modify the order. I'm saying this is not, if they did what Mr. Riley said, it's not violating the order. That's all I said.
So we're interpreting the order right here at the podium.
No, I'm actually giving you what I've seen actually going on in every town that I travel through, coming back and forth, that's actually going on and being allowed per how it's written and per how it's written. And that's why I asked the county attorney just before I came up here to approach this, to try to come up with some kind of compromise to help somebody out.
Well, I'd like to add this. I've been listening to this today, and I said this last week. I agree with Mr. Hebert. I do. I agree with the questions that he's asking. I asked the same questions last week. And I want to take this opportunity to commend our county attorney, who got totally dissed by a food writer in the Fort Worth paper this past weekend because he's not towing the line. And I'm going to just read a sentence out of this request that our county attorney sent to the Attorney General, dated March 30th. The question is whether the contents of such orders are legal under the statute, Texas Constitution, and the U.S. Constitution. That's all he asked. I tried to call Texas Association of Counties yesterday. They have a hotline for us to ask a lawyer down there some of what's going on right now. Are there any opinions coming in on this? because I question what's going on. And you know what? Nobody answered the phone. I have talked to our county attorney. We've discussed this, and this is not questioning Mr. Webster's, nobody's intentions. I am not questioning anybody's intentions with what's going on here. But we're making decisions up here. Well, right now, the governor has issued an order that supersedes all local orders. And the county judge issued an order on Friday that basically incorporates that into the county order, if I remember correctly. If that happened, we're basically under the governor's order. But and believe me, I've got 2 businesses myself that I have employees trying to figure out what's going to happen. And I understand. And I'm sorry if I'm questioning the legality of some of the stuff that we're doing. I am questioning it. And I agree that you should be able to question. Surely we can question it. And surely us up here, sitting up here on this bench, can disagree with each other without being disagreeable.
And you know what, David? Commissioner Eagle, I don't mind anybody questioning anything. That's how you and I have made a good living, is people questioning everything. I'm an attorney. I'm used to taking both sides of the argument. But right now, we are in an emergency situation, and like you're saying, we're not making decisions. We're following the order of the governor of the state of Texas, and our orders are subject to his orders. That's why I attached the order and Dr. Hellerstedt's order after we had met on April the 30th, and I did this on, I think, April the 2nd, I think I did it, because Jay had told me we had to do that for local disaster. I'm not questioning this. We're in a time of emergency. I don't care if they do that. In that article further, there was commentaries. Other constitutional lawyers have weighed in. Constitutional lawyers that are far more expertise in the matters and interpretation of the Constitution, I guarantee that anybody in this room, including myself and Dave Eagle, and they're going to come out with an order. And everybody, just like Commissioner Deaver has said, and Commissioner Eagle has said, and Commissioner White has said, my son is in the entertainment business in LA, and guess what? He lost his job. And guess what? He's back at the ranch right now. 0 source of income. Do you think I'm pleased about that? Do you think I'm thrilled about that? My daughter and my precious 4-year-old granddaughter is in Florence, Italy right now. Do you think I'm proud about that? Do you think I want that? I'm scared to death. Every morning when I get up, the first thing I think about is Simone. The last thing I think about before I go to bed at night is my 4-year-old granddaughter, Simone. These are perilous times. Everybody is trying to do the best we can to keep everybody safe. That's it, safe and healthy. And I've done things I don't like to do, but I'm following the law. And once this is over, I'm sure that the Attorney General's office is going to get around to answering Mr. Mills' questions about whether these orders are legal. And I'm going to say that our Constitution, our forefathers, gave our leaders the right to make emergency orders in the time of emergencies. And they affect everybody, ma'am, everybody, myself included, and everybody up here on the bench. So if anybody else has anything to say, this was not supposed to be a long meeting. It was supposed to be to direct and talk about the COVID-19 issues. And I'm glad that Commissioner Eagle takes the position that he does. He's questioning the legality of them. And our Attorney General is going to answer that. And until he answers that, the orders of the governor is what we all have to follow. Period. There's no misunderstanding that. Just because we may think that they are illegal doesn't give us the right not to follow the orders. We got to follow the orders until some other entity or higher authority tells us they are illegal. So with that, does anybody else have anything to say, or I want to adjourn this meeting?
One last thing. Not that I want to get the last say. You can have it after this. What's next? This is a rhetorical question. What's next? Are we going to bring the National Guard in here? Are we going to start talking house arrest? How far are we going to take this? Because yesterday, I'm out and about every day. I come into my office every day, in my little locked office now, and I go to H-E-B, I make rounds. I go to Walmart, and their parking lots are full. I went to the main post office yesterday, and it was packed to the gills. So a lot of people aren't listening to this, and I can understand other people that say, well, you shut me down, and why is everybody else out here doing what they're doing? So the question again is, where do we go from here? I'll leave it at that.
I'll tell you where we go from here, David, or Commissioner Eagle. We go from here and follow what else the governor tells us next. That's what we have to do, period. I don't think anybody can disagree with that. Whatever he says, the next thing he orders and makes another order, we're going to have to follow it. If you don't follow what the governor says, you have what's called anarchy. Does anybody here think that that's best? Do you think that we should have anarchy? Or are we a country of laws and must follow laws? You know, you can go to the ballot box and change it if you don't like. If you don't like what's happening, that's where your ultimate power is to go to the ballot box. And we'll see who's right. We'll see who's right, whether it was right to close the schools. Man, that's a big deal. That affected so many people. We'll see if that was right to do what the president, CDC, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, and Governor Abbott and Dr. Hellerstedt said in NIM, whatever the chief emergency manager's name is, Hicks. Let's just see if they're right. I hope to God they are right. And in the meantime, I just say this: God bless America, God bless Texas, and God bless Hood County. Thank you all. This meeting is
Judge,
adjourned.
before you, I would like to make a motion, if I might.
Go ahead.
I would like to make the motion for the court to approve the Second Amendment extension of declaration of disaster for the Hood County of Texas as ordered by the judge on the 2nd day of April 2020.
I hear a second. That's my orders where I attach Governor Abbott's orders to it.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and second to extend the second disaster order that I made after the Commissioners Court meeting on April the 30th, where I attach Governor Abbott's orders and Dr. Hellerstedt's recommendation, been made by Commissioner Cotton, second by Commissioner Eagle. Deaver. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carries 4-0 with one abstention. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting is adjourned.